1. When designing an SQL certification training module for adult learners, which instructional strategy most effectively incorporates self-directed learning principles? A. Providing learners with a fixed set of pre-written queries to memorize. E. Allowing learners to choose from multiple real-world SQL project scenarios. C. Requiring learners to follow a rigid step-by-step syntax drill. D. Limiting resources to ensure uniform learning paths. 2. In developing evaluation criteria for an SQL skills assessment, which approach ensures validity? A. Testing only basic select statements. E. Using tasks that replicate authentic database challenges. C. Asking learners to recall SQL syntax from memory without context. D. Providing multiple-choice questions only. 3. A curriculum developer is creating a course outline for SQL certification. To align with adult learning theory, the developer should: A. Sequence content from the most complex SQL joins to the simplest queries. B. Start with concepts tied to learners' existing work experiences. C. Avoid linking lessons to real-world applications. E. Focus solely on syntax accuracy without practical application. 4. Which feedback technique best supports learner growth during SQL query troubleshooting exercises? A. Providing only a final grade without comments. B. Highlighting incorrect code and offering specific improvement tips. C. Rewriting the entire query for the learner. D. Allowing learners to guess repeatedly without guidance. 5. When mentoring an SQL certification candidate struggling with group by, the mentor should: A. Repeat the syntax rules without context. B. Provide a relatable dataset and guide exploration of grouped outputs. C. Ask the learner to memorize all aggregate functions. D. Remove group by from all future exercises. 6. Informative evaluation of an SQL lab exercise. The primary goal is to: A. Assign a final certification score. B. Provide immediate feedback to shape ongoing learning. C. Eliminate learners who fail the task on first attempt. D. Focus exclusively on completion time. 7. To ensure regulatory compliance and SQL certification testing, an instructor should: A. Randomize question order for all test takers. B. Share previous test items to ensure fairness. C. Avoid securing assessment databases. D. Allow collaborative completion of certification exams. 8. Which curriculum development practice best ensures coverage of SQL certification competencies? A. Mapping each lesson to an official exam objective. B. Designing lessons based on instructor preference alone. C. Removing less popular topics from the syllabus. D. Including unrelated database technologies. 9. An adult learning principle particularly relevant to SQL problem-solving labs is: A. Dependency on the instructor for every solution. B. Immediate applicability of learning to job tasks. C. Avoidance of real-world complexity. D. Reliance on rote memorization. 10. When designing summative SQL assessments, a best practice is to: A. Include both theoretical and applied SQL tasks. B. Test only theory to reduce complexity. C. Focus exclusively on join statements. D. Use trick questions to confuse test takers. 11. In mentoring a team preparing for SQL certification, a mentor's primary role is to: A. Provide all answers directly to save time. B. Facilitate critical thinking through guided problem solving. C. Ensure all learners use identical code styles. D. Limit exposure to advanced functions. 12. An effective communication technique during SQL code review sessions is: A. Using technical jargon without clarification. B. Structuring feedback with positives before suggestions for improvement. C. Avoiding discussion to save time. D. Publicly comparing learner performance. 13. Which evaluation method best measures a learner's ability to optimize SQL queries? A. Multiple choice recall test on SQL syntax. B. Timed practical task, analyzing query execution plans. C. Reading assignment on database theory. D. Group discussion without hands-on practice. 14. In designing a self-paced SQL certification course, which feature best supports adult learners? A. Mandatory fixed learning schedule. B. Flexible access to practice databases and tutorials. C. Removal of all optional exercises. D. Strict adherence to instructor-led sessions only. 15. To comply with ethical testing standards, SQL certification assessments must: A. Provide equal access to resources for all candidates. Give preferential treatment to high-performing learners. C. Exclude learners with minimal prior experience. D. Base scores on subjective instructor impressions. 16. When introducing complex SQL concepts like recursive CTEs, an adult learning-based approach would: A. Present abstract definitions before practical examples. B. Use step-by-step guided coding with increasing independence. C. Avoid practical applications to focus on theory. D. Provide only the final solution. 17. Which mentoring technique promotes problem-solving autonomy in SQL certification preparation? A. Encouraging learners to identify and correct their own errors. E. Correcting all mistakes immediately for the learner. C. Discouraging experimentation with alternative solutions. D. Limiting access to practice environments. 18. In curriculum evaluation for SQL training, which process ensures continuous improvement? A. Annual review of course outcomes against certification standards. B. Avoiding updates to maintain course stability. C. Reducing evaluation frequency to every 5 years. D. Relying solely on instructor intuition. 19. When aligning SQL certification lessons to adult learning needs, it is important to: A. Integrate content with learners' existing professional contexts. B. Teach abstract concepts in isolation. C. Avoid connecting lessons to workplace benefits. D. Focus on memorization over application. 20. Which communication method most effectively clarifies SQL assessment expectations? A. Providing a detailed rubric before the assessment. B. Announcing grading criteria after grading is complete. C. Offering vague descriptions of performance standards. D. Sharing only passing scores without feedback. 21. In regulatory compliance for SQL certification programs, data security measures should include: A. Restricting access to live databases during testing. B. Allowing candidates to use personal, unverified data sources. C. Sharing exam answers for transparency. D. Using unsecured public datasets. 22. An adult learner preparing for SQL certification requests more challenging exercises. The instructor should: assign tasks involving complex data modeling and optimization. B. Repeat beginner-level exercises for consistency. C. Limit complexity to avoid learner frustration. D. Decline additional tasks to maintain schedule. 23. When designing evaluation rubrics for SQL project-based assessments, best practice is to: A. Include criteria for accuracy, efficiency, and readability of queries. B. Grade only on whether the query runs without error. C. Focus solely on the number of lines of code used. Avoid defining assessment criteria. 24. In mentoring sessions for SQL certification, using the Socratic method helps by A. Leading learners to discover solutions through guided questioning. B. Providing step-by-step instructions without discussion. C. Eliminating learner input for efficiency. D. Substituting theoretical lectures for practice. 25. For adult learners, integrating peer code review into SQL certification training primarily enhances A. Collaborative problem solving and communication skills. B. Passive listening skills only. C. Test memorization without understanding. D. Instructor authority without learner engagement. SQL certification test. The SQL certification test is a professional examination designed to assess an individual's proficiency in structured query language, SQL, and their ability to apply it in real-world database environments. It evaluates skills in creating, modifying, and querying relational databases, optimizing performance, ensuring data integrity, and implementing security best practices. Candidates are tested on fundamental to advanced concepts, including data manipulation, joins, indexing, stored procedures, and transaction control. The certification measures both theoretical understanding and practical problem solving, often through hands-on tasks that mirror workplace scenarios. Earning this certification demonstrates competence in database management and validates readiness for roles that require SQL expertise in various industries. Here are the top 5 beneficial uses SQL certification exam. 1. Career advancement. Validates technical expertise in SQL, enhancing credibility and opening opportunities for promotions, higher-level roles, and specialized database positions. 2. Skill verification. Confirms a professional's ability to design, query, and manage databases effectively, providing employers with assurance of practical and theoretical competence. 3. Industry recognition. Demonstrates alignment with industry standards, boosting professional reputation and distinguishing candidates in competitive job markets. 4. Increased earning potential. Certification often leads to higher salary prospects due to proven skills and recognized qualifications. 5. Expanded career opportunities. Enables entry into diverse fields such as data analysis, software development, and IT administration where SQL expertise is highly valued.